Paltrocast.
Well, I'm going to say good morning and how are you? That's the part one, and then the part two is what do I call you, James?
Yeah, you can call me James.
Okay, well, James, how are you? Because you didn't answer that. It's important information here.
I'm good, man. How are you?
Nonstop but good. The reason I ask how you're doing is because you're doing a press day where the people ask you the same questions over and over and over again. So my goal is to ask 80% of the same questions and 20% originals. Okay.
That'll be really good.
Okay, well, we'll start off with plugging the new music. Prophecy is out in about a month, and you control the destiny of this group. So, how long has this album been done for? I mean, mastered, done, you knew that it was finished.
Man, probably almost a year.
Wow. So, sometimes when you speak to people who are the visionary of the group, when they have the album done, they start working on the next one, meaning the follow-up album is already in the works. How are you with all that?
I'm just like in the idea phase. I've started a couple tracks, but I'm not really sure. I want to see kind of how this one goes to see where I take the next one. I was thinking about doing like a somatic release with like videos for every song, like a synthwave version of what's that Beyonce thing that she did where it was all the videos, Banana Split or whatever the fuck it was called. I don't know.
I know entirely what you're talking about. I don't want to say anything wrong because I don't want the Beehive to come after you. Because the Beehive that's one of those fan bases you don't mess with. Like
Yeah, I
you
know.
mess with Kiss fans, don't mess with Beyonce's.
Yeah, I've seen them tear people up on Twitter.
Exactly. Is there a name for your fan base, by the way? I couldn't figure that one out easily.
We don't really have a name for like individual people. I guess like the Dreadfully Possessed is like the Facebook group where some of the fans kind of meet up, and it's basically just turned into a meme page. But yeah,
But good memes. And I think that reinforces the darker the music, the nicer and more lighthearted the artist and the fan base generally are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
So,
say that again. Say that again. Sorry, I got a text from my daughter.
oh, no problem. I'm saying the darker the music, the more generally likely that the artist is into golf and laid back things and yacht rock. In other words, John Five is super tatted up like you, and then you look at all the stuff that he's into, and it's all jokey, lighthearted kind of stuff. I get those vibes from you, even though there's the John Carpenter past.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how jokey I am. I'm not that good at. I'm not funny. But I generally keep things lighthearted as far as movies and shit that I watch. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm into yacht rock, but I do listen to like some old school country and shit. I mean, I am from Texas, so I get pretty deep into George Jones sometimes.
So that is actually a major point of interest for me because you signed with Metal Blade, legendary metal label. But when in your life did metal and heavier music become the focal point? Because let's face it, you start out on top 40 like everybody, and then you discover those one or two independent or cool things, and then that's your gateway.
Probably a couple instances I can track it back to. I used to play soccer when I was younger, and I was on a trip with the team. A couple guys were in our car, and a guy had we were sharing like a CD player, and he had Pretty Hate Machine, and I think I was like 12. I don't know. I was pretty young, and it was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. So I was immediately just like, from then on, chasing heavier and heavier and heavier things. And then when my brother moved out to go to college, he left behind like, I don't know, a couple hundred CDs. It was like Suicidal Tendencies, Depeche Mode, Ministry. It was all kinds of shit in it. Big Daddy Kane. So like my music taste just kind of exploded.
Wow. Okay. So I had you pigeonholed until you said Big Daddy Kane. So did that lead you down more of a rabbit hole of old school hip hop?
Oh yeah, yeah. There was like an NWA. I had an NWA CD. I'm trying to think of all the other stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of gone through like hip hop phases where I'll, when I kind of just want to listen to something without putting too much thought into it. I'll not saying that about hip hop. I just for me,
Well,
that's when I'll put it on when I just kind of want to have fun and not think about the music too much.
so was Judgment Night's soundtrack influential in your musical development?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I now get you more. I liked the music, but seeing that there's the country background, the hip hop, the metal, yet you're pigeonholed as, oh, metal producer, metal wave. How do you like to be thought of when they use the terms to describe you? What's the least cringeworthy one of those?
I don't know if it's not cringeworthy, but slasher wave is kind of the genre that got pinned on what I do. So I guess that's what I call. I mean, it has its own genre in Bandcamp now, so it's like a thing. So I guess that. I mean, dark electronic music is what I tell people, like just people off the street.
I've never heard the slash wave before. Now, I was trying to figure out how to pigeonhole that because chill wave, I listen to a lot of that. That's my go to sleep music. And your music is kind of like the dark cousin that the parents of chill wave don't want you to hang out with. And I mean that in a good way. So, when did you realize that you had this sound? In other words, when did this go from a one or two off kind of thing to, oh, this is actually my sound and no one at a label is going to tell me to write a hit?
I guess whenever Blood Music approached me after they had signed Perturbator, he was trying to scoop up like all the synthwave artists that hadn't been signed, and I had written half of Behemoth and didn't really know where I was going to go, but he like really liked that material, so I just kind of ran with it. And then once that record was released and the response was, like I've never had in making music before, that's when it was like, okay, I guess this is what I do now.
So, listening back to Skull and Radio Macabre and all that, do you still enjoy those records or do you listen back going, oh man, I would have done that and that and that differently?
I try to like take that approach and just kind of leave them for what they are. It was I was growing, so I don't hate them, but I could definitely listen to them and pick everything apart and be like, this is like the worst production of my career and blah blah blah. But it's also kind of what got me started, and so yeah, I don't hate it. It is what it is.
So, upcoming touring in support of Prophecy, the new music, what's the set list looking like? Because you obviously now have a catalog to draw from. Whereas an artist who's on their first or second record, they go, okay, 40 minutes. Let's see, my album's 32. So we'll do the album and a cover and about 4 minutes of banter. How you all doing tonight? Kind of stuff. But now you have to go, well, I have to cut out songs that people want to hear in my time slot.
I don't know. Well, this year we're gonna do some headline stuff, so it's gonna be probably nearly an hour and a half long set. So I'll be able to squeeze quite a bit of stuff into that. Um, we're doing a couple of support runs, I believe, later in the year. Those are probably gonna be 40 minutes. It's definitely hard. I mean, every time I play, every time I tour, I definitely get a few fans coming up being like, "You never play this song. You never play my favorite song," and it's like, I mean, I can't. I kind of ask people generally sometimes on like on social media what they want to hear, but the answers are all over the place. It is a lot of material.
Now, as a person who creates the sounds, you are the group. Is anything going on for you as a producer outside of this band?
Uh, you, I mean, nothing big. No, I've had a few kind of like lightly interested people that just really never came to fruition. I'm definitely down to do it. I don't really know how you kind of really get into that game and get people to know that that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like I know a bunch of producers and that's what they do. They don't really write music and other things like that. But I would definitely be interested in that. I don't know how to break into it, to be honest.
Usually it's a hyperactive manager uh, giving out your reel and all that a lot of times. I thought you were going to say, oh, I'm scoring 2 films right now. That's plenty. Are you in the film scoring world?
No, I would love to be. I mean, that's a whole different set of technicalities and shit too. Like I kind of there was a movie called Bloodfest. I think it's like a horror movie where they go to like a horror fest and they get murdered or whatever. And I have one song in that, but they did offer me the to score it, but I had to like compete with whoever ended up scoring it. And so I
Mhm.
didn't really know what I was doing. You have to have like a whole separate program with like the time signatures of the movie and how fast the scene's moving and stuff like that. So I was just doing it by eye and by ear. So I don't know how well it worked out, but the other guy got the score anyway. So I would definitely
Well,
love to do it. It's just I don't know, the
I
first thing
mean,
about it.
you're not scoring films, but you are an artist of Metal Blade. You have the headlining dates. I think you're doing just fine, and you don't necessarily need the freelance work right now. But it'll be interesting to see if film producers rather, hear your work and go, "Oh, that guy should be scoring my film," based on your music sounding like soundtracks as it is. So when you're writing the music, it's not written to video at all.
No, I may have like a scene playing in my head or something, but no, I've never written it to video. That would be an interesting way to write an album, but no, everything starts here.
Wow. Okay, well, two quick questions and then I let you go. And they're clickbaity but friendly questions.
Uh,
This is how you get Blabbermouth to pick up your article so that everyone then plagiarizes it. So Metal Injection picks it up, etc. The first one, you mentioned more diverse musical influences than I think everybody realizes you had. Was Van Halen ever in that musical spectrum for you?
Definitely. I don't know if I can trust someone who says they don't like Van Halen. That's crazy.
So is it Van Hagar and Van Halen and Van Sharon you like, or are you just the first six albums?
The first six, man.
And then related to that, your evolution as a player, did you have a shred phase in terms of your musicianship where you played too many
I
notes?
tried to have a shred phase, man. I just so many plateaus like in lead guitar work that I don't know. I'm more of a songwriter, dude. To when I get down to it, I just don't have the patience to sit down and noodle for hours every day to get it. Because the guy that plays bass with me live, he's a really good guitar player, and that's what he does. He does guitar exercises every day, so he's gotten really good. He can shred now, but uh, yeah, I don't think I'll ever be quite. I don't think I'll be a shredder. I don't have the patience.
So he's more of a Billy Sheehan type. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last question before I let you go. Obviously, when you start off in music, music is your life. It's all you do. You have music on 24/7. Then there hits that point where you go, what's the exact opposite of this so I don't hate my job? What is your number two hobby or passion outside of music?
Um, it used to be drugs and alcohol, but I don't really do that much anymore. So, honestly, man, it's not cool. But my family, I just we do a lot of traveling. We like to go to like the high desert areas of the states and kind of disappear. And like, we hike the whole time we're there. We don't really relax. So that's probably it. Like just being out in the middle of nowhere where there's no people and taking in stuff that I've never seen.
Wow. Okay. That is exactly the opposite of drugs and alcohol. So congratulations on keeping health going, keeping the great music going, etc. And I do hope to see you live in New York in the very near future.
Yes, I'll be. I think I'll be there. I'm shooting for the next few months, sometime like that.
Paltrocast.